Welcome everyone to Fett's Legacy. My name is Taryn, and I'm back today to talk about Chapter 5 of the Book of Boba Fett, talk about some of the key moments that happened in the episode, and some of the background lore. And I do want to say, guys, if you haven't seen Chapter 5, please go watch that first. And also, if you guys can like and subscribe, I really appreciate all the support you guys can give me. And guys, also, I do want to say, sorry for last video. I know I was a little bit negative. Like I said, I did really enjoy the episode. I wasn't trying to be too negative. I don't want to be a negative channel. I want to be happy and positive about Star Wars. It's just, as a Boba Fett fan, it was a little bit annoying. I'm sure you guys could see my point of view. But I do want to apologize for being a little bit negative. I do want to talk about some more theories today. And guys, let's get right into the video. So guys, we get Mando re-entering the Star Wars universe, kind of like a throwback to his first entry in his first episode, where he's standing in the doorway, and he's in this meat plant kind of thing, and he goes through to find the gang leader, who obviously has the bounty on his head. And so he gets back there, and he finally, starts talking to them, and he says to him the classic line, "I can bring you in warm, or I can bring you in cold." I absolutely love to hear that. Awesome. And the gang leader makes the wrong decision, and they try to kill him. Mando actually defeats them all with the Darksaber. It was such a cool scene, but Mando wasn't really great at fighting with the Darksaber. He was kind of, struggling with it, and he actually ends up hurting himself with it. Could have lost his leg. So, I mean, that was pretty crazy. So he gets, the bounty. He actually cuts off his head, and he walks out with it in a bag, and tells the other, members, like, I have no right to the credits in there. If you will let me pass, you can have it. And they let him pass. And this is obviously showing, the Mandalorian, like, code of honor kind of thing that they're showing with Boba and Mando. So he leaves, and he drops off the bounty on this new ring colony that we see. We've never actually seen something like this before in Star Wars, I'm pretty sure. So that was definitely really cool to see. And it looks straight out of Halo, to be honest. And so he finds out where the covert is and starts going over there to meet up with the armorer and Paz Vizsla. And so, guys, before we talk about that, I do want to say in the last credit scenes, there is some artwork of this ring colony, and we see in the background the Scimitar, which is Darth Maul's ship. If you guys know, it is definitely one of the coolest ships in Star Wars. So cool. But I'm not sure if this is just some artwork and it really has no meaning, or if this could be Kira in there. I know a lot of people are saying that, but I don't know if you guys have watched Rebels, but the last person to actually fly the ship was Ezra, getting off of Tatooine after, spoiler alert if you guys haven't seen Rebels, Darth Maul actually gets killed by Obi-Wan Kenobi, and so Ezra takes the ship. So he's the last one to fly it. I'm not sure if this is maybe Ezra, or if Kira knows about the ship and she went on to go get it, because we don't actually know where Ezra is right now. So who knows who this is? It could just be some artwork, could mean nothing, could even just be a different ship entirely, but I thought I'd mention it. I thought it was pretty cool. So guys, he finds the covert, and he sees the armorer in there. And I did want to say about, there's a theory, and I think this is true. Personally, I think Rook Kast from the Clone Wars is the armorer, the Mandalorian armorer. She does have these little horns on the top of her helmet. That's kind of reminds me of the horns that they had on their helmet when they served Darth Maul. And I feel like it makes a lot of sense for this to be Rook Kast. I mean, that would be so cool. She has history with Mandalore and with Bo-Katan, and that would just be really cool if true. And I'm backing that theory. I think it is her. So Din Djarin is obviously hurt from the Darksaber, and he gets healed by Paz Vizsla, and he shows the Darksaber to the armorer, and you can tell Paz Vizsla, wants it, as it was, his ancestors, and his ancestors are actually the ones that forged it. The armorer talks about Tar Vizsla. He was a Jedi Mandalorian, and he forged the Darksaber and was the ruler of Mandalore. So the armorer continues to talk about Mandalore, and she talks about the Mythostar rising, but she says it's still just a legend. It doesn't really mean anything. So I don't know, this could mean that she is wrong and we do see a mythosaur rise up, which would be insane. That would be so cool. But I was also thinking, right, Boba has a Mandalorian mythosaur symbol on his shoulder. And so he has risen up pretty much from the sands and is now becoming a leader. So is this maybe pointing to Boba is going to become Mandalore, become the ruler of Mandalore? He is the quote unquote mythosaur rising up. That would be amazing. I hope so. And I'm starting to buy more and more into this theory that Boba is going to rule Mandalore. I know, like I said in my previous video, there are a couple things that point against it, but I don't know. Like, there are a couple things that are pointing towards it. There are some later on I'll also get into, but if this is referencing Boba rising up and ruling Mandalore, that would be amazing. Then the armorer starts talking to Din Djarin and starts asking him about the Beskar spear. He tells her, it was a gift from a Jedi, and she says, it was pretty much forged not by a Mandalorian, as they use Beskar for armor only, and it's actually a good weapon against Mandalorians. So he says, alright, smelt it down and make it into armor then. And he requests that it's made into specific armor for Grogu. So, like I said, guys, this plays into Din is not ready to lead. And, he's focused on Grogu a lot. But yeah, so I think they make some chainmail armor for Grogu. I mean, I would have liked maybe for him to get like a little helmet or something. Like the chainmail, I guess, under his robes is kind of like, it's just kind of boring, to be honest. I'd rather just have Din keep the spear. So, guys, the armorer goes on to talk about Bo-Katan, and she says that she was born of a mighty house, obviously Clan Kryze, and, says that they lost their way. I don't think this is just talking about Bo-Katan, who obviously ruled and, had Mandalore destroyed under her rule, but also talking about Satine as, she was a pacifist leader, and this kind of is not really the Mandalorian way. So I think she's talking about both of them. So, guys, we learned that Bo-Katan obviously was gifted the Darksaber by Sabine Wren, and the armor says that, this is a curse. It has to be won in combat. And this is why basically she failed, because she didn't have the right to rule. So we learned that the way that this covert survived, including Paz Vizsla, the armorer, and the other Mandalorians that we saw in Season 1, was they were based on the moon of Concordia, obviously a moon surrounding Mandalore, and basically that's how they survived the purge on Mandalore, and that's where Paz Vizsla was born. As I'm sure most of you guys know if you've seen the Clone Wars, that is where Pre-Vizsla was set up, and that's where he set up his whole Death Watch when they tried to take over Mandalore, and then he eventually became the ruler. So, guys, we then see the Destruction of Mandalore, which I did talk about in my last video shortly, but this was a really cool scene, really cool to see. I wish it was longer, but I'm hoping that maybe they're just setting this up so they can really dive deep into it in The Mandalorian Season 3, because this was an incredible scene, seeing, everything blown up, and then the K2 droids and, the probe droids going through and killing all the survivors. It was a crazy scene, and it was really cool to see. I just wish it was longer. But, so we see the destruction of Mandalore, and obviously this is the tragedy the armor talks about, as Bo-Katan was not the rightful ruler, so this was done under her watch. And yeah, Mandalore was destroyed, and that's why Boba, says the Empire turned that planet into glass, because they basically just nuked the crap out of Mandalore. So Din Djarin and the armorer go on to train, and he starts, fighting with the Darksaber and blocking, and he's having a really hard time. It looks really heavy to him, and we actually saw it in Rebels when Sabine Wren had the Darksaber, and she's, training with Kanan. She says, it feels a lot heavier than she thought it would, and Kanan basically tells her, this is an extension of your mind, and if you're not, if your mind is not in the right place, then it's not going to work for you. You're fighting against a blade. Even the armor says to Din Djarin, your physical strength is really good, but your mental strength is not there. You're not focused. So this shows that he clearly is just thinking mostly about Grogu. He's not in the right headspace to rule Mandalore. or to even wield the Darksaber properly, as it seems really heavy and it's dragging him down. And then we see Paz Vizsla come in and basically says, maybe it should be in someone else's hands, meaning, that he challenges him to a duel for the Darksaber. Din Djarin agrees, and they fight. Paz Vizsla brings out, his little vibro blade that most Mandalorians have, and a little, arm shield that we have seen, with Mandalorians, but also we have seen in Battlefront 2, if you guys play that game, or have played it in the past. It's for the heavies, and it just blocks blasters and stuff, but it doesn't really last long against the Darksaber. So they fight. It's a pretty good fight, and Paz Vizsla actually gets the upper hand and gets the Darksaber at one point. And even for that big of a guy, it's heavy for him. So you can tell even he probably is not in the right mental headspace to have the Darksaber or fight with it properly. And you really got to train your body and mind to be one with the blade to rule Mandalore. It's like this is almost like a wand in Harry Potter. If you guys watch Harry Potter, it kind of like chooses you. You don't choose it. So it's kind of, I guess, kind of looking for the rightful ruler and someone that is really prepared for it. And this is why I think it goes back into Boba becoming the ruler of Mandalore. I think that scene, if you guys remember earlier on, when he gets the lizard from the Tuskens and goes through his journey and he breaks off that branch to make it into a gaffy stick, I think that was him clearing his conscience, clearing his mind, and being okay with who he is today. And I think that's why he will become the ruler of Mandalore. He's clearly more fit to rule, and he is the real leader. He's going on a leader's journey. Din Djarin is great. I know he's a Disney poster boy, but and I love Din Djarin, don't get me wrong, but he just clearly doesn't seem like he's made to rule. He seems like the hero. He wants to be the dad, and that's great. It's a great character, but it looks like Boba should be the ruler of Mandalore. I'm not sure if they'll do that because, like I said, Disney, they love Din Djarin. He's their poster boy, but I think it should be Boba. But guys, enough rambling on. My bad. Mando defeats Paz Vizsla in combat, and the armorer asks them if they've ever removed their helmet or had it removed, and Paz Vizsla says no, and Din Djarin hesitates. And she asks him again, and you can tell he's kind of frozen, and he admits that he has. And she says, basically, because this goes against the creed, she kicks him out of Mandalorian society, says he's not a Mandalorian. I thought this was pretty funny, as, he is literally the Mandalorian. That's his show, and now they're trying to say, you're not a Mandalorian anymore. I thought that was funny, but when the armorer says the only way to redeem yourself is to go to the living waters on Mandalore that have all now been destroyed, this, I feel like this is a huge concept of water is being played out in the Book of Boba Fett. I'm not sure many people have noticed this, but I was thinking about it when I rewatched the episode, and they're talking about the living waters under Mandalore. Boba, a lot of his flashbacks, they're going back to Camino and showing water. When Boba is enslaved, he has to dig for water. When he's meeting up with that gang, what have they stolen? They've stolen water. Boba, all of his flashbacks are in a bacta tank, like it's like water. And I think this all goes back to, I think Boba, this is kind of setting him up as the ruler. Again, I don't want to keep going on about this, but I feel like the whole show has been kind of leading up to this and kind of saying, all of these water references, I feel like it's kind of just leading back to Boba will be the ruler. Maybe I'm looking too far into all the water references, and this living waters under Mandalore was just a throwaway line, but I don't know. I really think this is all kind of pointing to Boba ruling and becoming the Mandalore. So guys, Din goes to Tatooine, and he goes to visit Pelimoto, who has contacted him about a new ship, and he helps her defeat whatever creature is giving her trouble. And we see a BD droid. This is the same droid that Cal Kestis has in Jedi Fallen Order. I don't think this is the exact same droid that he has, but still really cool to see. Maybe this is foreshadowing that we'll see Cal Kestis sometime in the future. I don't think it'll be in the Book of Boba Fett, but it would be really cool to see him, see what he's up to. Maybe he's working with Luke Skywalker, rebuilding the Jedi Order with him. And, that would just be very cool to see. And I hope we get to see him in live action. So they go over to see the ship. And guys, it is so cool. It's actually an N1 Naboo Starfighter. And we see this in the Phantom Menace. Obviously, the ship is made for the Royal Guards of Naboo. And Anakin actually flies this and destroys the Trade Federation command ship from the inside with this ship. So really cool ship, really cool prequel throwbacks. This one is a little more, destroyed, obviously, because these ships are, decades old in the Star Wars universe. And, he thinks it's a piece of junk, but Pelimoto has to be one of the best businessmen I've ever seen. She is a salesman for sure. She's a salesperson because she gets him to build a ship he didn't even want, pretty much. And so, Jawas are bringing him the parts and they're souping it up. I did think that this kind of took a long time. I thought it was kind of a dragged out scene. They were just talking about random parts. One cool part was the Jawas brought a specific part that Han actually uses in the garbage chute in episode 4. So that was just a really cool, little Easter egg. But I just think this whole scene kind of went on too long. Maybe I'm alone in that, but they were just talking about random stuff. And we learned that, Jawas are furry. I'm not sure how many people wanted to learn about that and wanted to know that Jawas were furry, but cool, because I guess, we don't really know a lot about them. This kind of makes me think that they, I don't know, maybe look like Ewoks with glowing eyes, I guess. But, yeah, so that was cool. He builds the Starfighter, and they take it up. Well, he takes it up because, only he can fit inside. It's a little cramped. And like I said, this means he will be dropping bounty hunting. So he goes through the Bunta Eve little pod racetrack, takes it up into space, and he's flying around a transport ship. Gets pulled over by 2 New Republic starfighters, the pilots, and they the X-wings pull up beside him, kind of like in Mandalorian season 2, and it's the same guy from Mandalorian season 2, but not Dave Filoni. There's a new guy there, and he's actually the actor who played Luke in the last episode of season 2. So guys, things get a little heated when Carson Teva, that's the X-wing pilot, starts asking him some questions that he doesn't want to answer, and Mando just speeds off, and we see the true speed of this new ship. I mean, that is so cool. I mean, obviously these ships have to be really fast, and they were already fast, because these are short-range ships, and they can't really take a whole lot of beating. So these are more like interceptors, like they're trying to get up there nice and fast, shoot you down. They got power for sure, but they're short range. Like this could never compare in a fight to something like the Slave One, but this thing is just so fast. We see him zoom off and he brings it down, and Pelimoto asks him, how was it? And he just says, "Wizard." And I thought that was so funny. That was hilarious. But yeah, so he then gets out. She says, your friend came here to see you, and he's confused. And we see Fennec pulls up and tries to, say, like, come work for Boba. The credits are good. And she hands him a bag of credits. And he says, for Boba Fett, it's on the house. So I love this little interaction. Boba Fett did help out Din Djarin a lot in season 2. So I like to see, him saying, it's on the house, basically saying, I'll do whatever for Boba. And yeah, so this means that, we will see Mando fighting on Boba's side, as we all kind of knew. But I don't think it'll be next episode, because Mando says, first I have to go see a little friend. Obviously this means Grogu. But yeah, I thought this was a great episode. Let me know what you guys thought of it down in the comment section below. I know a lot of people said this is their favorite episode. For me, episode 4 is still better, slightly. But this is probably my second favorite episode. It was a really good episode. And if it was a part of the Mandalorian show, I think this would be a top 5 Mandalorian episode. I think this is probably one of the best Star Wars television episodes we've ever gotten. it was actually really good. I thought the first half was absolutely incredible. Second half was a little slower, but still really cool. A lot of Easter eggs. And yeah, guys, I thought this episode was great. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below, and let me know if you think we'll see Luke next episode. I wouldn't mind maybe seeing Luke and Boba have a brief interaction. Again, guys, I don't think that there's going to be any bad blood or anything. Boba, people are saying, he's a little softer and stuff, but even Boba back in the day, bounty hunting is just a job. Luke was just a job when he went to go find out his name and get him for Darth Vader. There is no personal feelings. Even he says to Black Chrysanthemum when he comes to kill him, he says no hard feelings. He understands bounty hunting. He was a bounty hunter, so he's not going to have any bad blood towards Luke. And Luke is a Jedi Master now. He's not going to hold a grudge against Boba for doing his job, basically. So I don't think there would be any bad blood. It would be cool to see a little interaction, maybe some acknowledgement of what happened in episode 6. Well, not episode 6, like Return of the Jedi, when I say episode 6. So it would be cool to maybe see a little interaction, but I don't want to see like Luke basically take over Boba's show, if you know what I mean. So, but yeah, let me know what you guys think is going to happen in the next episode. I'm super excited for the last 2 episodes, and let me know what you guys think of some of my theories in this. Do you think Rook Kast is the armorer? Do you think Boba will become Mandalore? Do you think, Mando's ship has anything to do with where he's going in the future? Let me know down in the comment section below. But anyway, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and thank you for tuning in. See you guys next time.